Just a little back so I can because I may need to relate to it. Just slightly back. Namaskar, everyone, and welcome once again to our second segment. And here I would, I'm going to speak to you a little bit on the subject, continuation from this morning, and then we'll break up in groups so that you can share your individual comments, feedback, stories, but it needs to stay on topic. So this morning we spoke about consciousness evolution. That it is our essential life purpose. From lifetime to lifetime, consciousness evolution is our essential life purpose in every lifetime. But because we are born in the human creature, we are steeped in ignorance because the consciousness is contracted to the human. And at some point, through the human experiences, we become dissatisfied with that human consciousness only because, and I often say this, that it is the divine seeking us, not us seeking for something more. It is the divine itself, if you can just imagine or think, that the divine is seeking to be free of that contraction in consciousness, because contraction in consciousness is holding it hostage. It cannot stay there for long. So its destiny is to open up the consciousness and be free. So in every lifetime, it's going to be pushing the consciousness to open. So just imagine it, in the beginning, you were in an animal consciousness, human consciousness. And so you'll be seeking pleasure, you'll be seeking power, you'll be seeking to survive. So that consciousness is very much reptilian. It's in our lower brain. And because we are humans, we have an upper brain, neocortex, so we can process things. And whilst we are in the human experience, at some point we're going to be dissatisfied because of that unconscious evolution that is happening. So we're going to be dissatisfied with just human consciousness. We'll want more because the divine in us will be pushing us to experience more. And so I'd like to know when we would have become awakened to that. When would we have become awakened? There's something more. And begin to change direction to going beyond survival, beyond human pleasure, and secular power, human power. At some point we would want more. And that wanting, that desire for more will propel us on a journey. And that journey is such a journey that when you understand it, it becomes exciting. Because every time you seek, the universe is responding. Every time. That's why the biblical saying is, seek and you shall find. Not that you may find, you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. And in the Sanskrit I said on Sunday that intense desire to become free or to become totally happy or filled with love, it's called mumukshutva. Mumukshutva. And so that's an intense desire for freedom. And at some point we'll get there. We'll be totally dissatisfied with every form of human existence, and we'll want to break free. And that's when the universe will respond in an even more dramatic way. But every time you act, every time you create a desire, the universe is responding to you to try to help you to fulfill the desire. So the universe is always in that mode of responding to you. So you are really the leader of the show. Even in ignorance. If you want to steal, it will help you to steal. If you want to acquire more property, it will help you to acquire more property. If you want more fame, it will help you to acquire more fame. And why? Because that's a journey that you are creating for yourself. So it gives you that kind of freedom. So the universe is always responding to you. But the thing is, is that when it responds to you for what you want, you may not be happy. You may crave more. You know how it goes. You have a little bit of riches and at some point you're dissatisfied. Or you have a desire, and when you fulfill the desire, you want more. You want more of it, more of it, more of it. So human desires are unending. The quest for human power is unending. And we can never be satisfied with a physical journey. So at some point, when we get to that point of dissatisfaction and crave more, and know innately that there is more, the guru comes along. The guide comes along. And when the guide comes along, if we recognize the guide and we are receptive, readiness and receptivity are important, a magnificent journey begins. Magnificent. And if you meet a Shaktipat guru who can really awaken your energy and push you, then it's amazing what happens. So we meet gurus along the way, those who can take us the next step. But when we meet a Shaktipat guru, we know that we can have maximum growth in consciousness in the particular lifetime. So what happens as consciousness grows? We become more of the witness. We begin to see life differently. Then we see the play of consciousness and energy. We begin to see and experience the energy as one experience. But consciousness at the background opening up and unveiling itself is the next experience. So do we recognize that? Do we recognize that in all the experiences of energy that we have, the pleasure experience, the power experience, that it's all about growing in consciousness. And who grows in the consciousness? The ego. So the ego is on a journey from ignorance to oneness with the power, with the consciousness. So consciousness and energy are one. If you're on a journey with one, then you are really on a journey with the other. If you're in a journey to expand your self-consciousness, naturally the stage is going to come to you to do that. That's the energy journey, the stage, relationships, the experiences on the stage. So do you see that relationship, that when you want to be more conscious, the stage in front of you changes to challenge you to become more conscious? So that's an amazing journey, and it would be wonderful if you can share your experiences of that. Now, I'm not going to speak to you here like I did this morning, but I will speak to you after you all have spoken to your groups. So we need to look at the journey of the witness. We need to look at the journey of energy, chakras, energy. And we need to look at the karmic stage that helps us to grow in consciousness. So when you begin to recognize that, the conversation is going to be enriching to all of us. So that's where I want you to go. So I'm going to let you go now, so that we can create groups. And here, should we create one group or two groups, do you think, here? All right, so Shreya G is saying that we can create one group here. And then let us create the virtual groups. And now I will, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about your conversation. And at the end of this, you can converse with me as well. Right? So you get further clarification and inspiration. Right? No, you have to have a microphone. Take up the microphone. Yeah, because you are in charge of the groups, right?
Namaskar, everyone. I just wanted to let everybody know that for our virtual participants today, we have Suravi, Jaya Devi, we have Radhaji, Janavi, and Ved are our groups.
Right, so any instructions that you want to give, additional to what I just said?
No, just I'm going to send out the questions that you just asked to the group facilitators, so please do your very best to really reflect on them and stay with the topic of consciousness evolution. And I think we'll have a great conversation.
All right, everyone. So my good wishes are with you, my blessings are with you.
Supposed to wrap up at 4, so then we'll come back at 3:30.
Yeah, at 2:30.
At 3:30.
At 3:30, sorry. Just to say that I'm going to put Adi Dev, Akshay, as a group facilitator, as well as Dr. Dayani. Right? They both are involved in this as well. And we have enough participants that we can have them as facilitators as well. Okay? the collective field or group consciousness. Yeah, go ahead.
Namaskar, everyone. For me, the start of my seeing something more was when I got out of contact with my coach before. She was a spiritual coach. And I never knew about any masters or Shaktipat. Thank you. Ice cream. I never knew about any Shaktipat gurus or whatever, but when I was singing mantras with Sarveshwari in Holland, then suddenly I was called into these eyes on a picture in front of me. And I had been singing there, but never caught my attention, and then suddenly Guruji just grabbed my look. And I couldn't come loose. I was just stuck to his eyes. And then I asked, well, who's that? And Sarveshwari said, well, that's my guru, Sri Vasudeva, and he's coming to Holland. Now, first they were going to Trinidad, and they came back just filled with light, and I thought, that's what I want. So, and she said, well, he's coming to Holland. And I don't know why, but I asked Guruji to put his hand on my head, on my forehead, his finger on my forehead. And he said, you remember this finger? And he put his thumb on my forehead and placed his hand, and he filled me just full of light. I was just like a sort of a light zombie going out of the tent like this, wow. And people putting down their bags and coming to hug me, people I never knew. So that was really beautiful.
Namaskar, everyone. I want to share my experience, and it's related to all of the three questions. So, before my awakening started, I was in a world of pleasure and pain, of course, and that changed my whole life, like Guru said. Pleasure is animal things. So I came from that life, and that brought me a lot of pain. And I thought, this is not what I'm looking for. I don't want to live here in this world. So I started to pray, and that prayer helped me. I think a few months before I met Guruji, I had a very strong Kundalini awakening. And that changed my whole life. Just from one day to the other, it changed my whole life. Life became totally different. I was a guy, I was only reading cartoons, Superman, Batman, never reading spiritual books. But after that strong experience, I wanted to know what happened with me. So my Kundalini, my awakened Kundalini, led me to bookshops. And all my answers of my questions was in the books. So I was starting to read books, sometimes till 4 in the morning, in the summer. And so funny, this experience was end of March and beginning of April. And later I understand it was 40 days, right? So the summer was coming, so I take my bike, I took my books, I take my lunch, roti, all that stuff, and I went to bike for far away, sitting in the park, sitting on a bench, and just reading books. So my Kundalini was showing me the path, like, I'm going to show you what the real life is. So, yeah, how was life before and after? It was a big, big difference. I couldn't imagine that this thing exists, right? Yeah.
Can you see how your stage was set in a way that led to that moment
Right.
where you would have said, I want something different?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And what would that have felt like?
How did it felt like?
Yeah, like the fact that karma, like it's a karmic play that's
Yes.
happening that,
Mhm.
that is manufactured for you to have that moment. What
Yeah.
was that like?
You mean the feeling when it happened? It was. It's like when something comes up from my egg. You know, a chicken. It's you can't imagine it. It's so different. It's yeah. I don't know how to explain this, but life wasn't the same before. I know there is a song of Van Morrison. It's you up, turns you around, and put your feet on a higher ground. So it is, yeah. You can't imagine how it was.
Let me ask it a different way. Do you see how all the experiences that you went through needed to happen
Right.
because of that moment?
Right,
So
yeah.
that you could have that
Ah,
moment.
yes,
So
yes,
there's
yes.
a purpose in that happening
Right.
too.
Yeah. I think it was meant to be.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. So because of all this suffering and pain, it led me to that experience. So it was meant to be. And I know when I met Guru, after a few months, the first thing what Guru said was, you had to be here today. So it was all meant to be.
That's your karmic stage. That's your karmic stage.
Yeah, exactly. It was meant to be. So you sometimes you can't escape things from life. You just have to go, and afterwards you say, yeah, well, it was meant to be.
Namaskar, everyone. I think because Lakshmana has just talked about the karmic stage, and Shreya, you asked some good follow-up questions. I think that's the question that really resonates with me, because I've been thinking about like how my stage has changed so many times throughout the years. I mean, particularly since I met Guru, of course, that was a very dramatic change. And I think, you know, I'm starting to perhaps appreciate the significance of the changes more and more. And of course, now my stage has changed, and here I am physically staying in the ashram. But even like within the, you know, the bigger, more significant changes, there's changes on a daily basis. So like, you know, being here, different people come, different people arrive, different people leave. And, you know, there's an opportunity with each person, because there's some, you know, there's invariably some sort of trigger or something. So, you know, it's I think being able to see the stage a little bit more and to appreciate the potential of the stage, recognizing and being able to engage with it, not always perfectly, but striving to do that a bit more.
I think that's an amazing example of consciousness opening, because the more your consciousness opens, the more it opens, the more it opens, the more you can zoom out and see the play for what it is and see the players. When you're in it, it's challenging, right? When you're in the midst of pain, or you're in the midst of getting caught up in pleasure, you can't see it. But the more the consciousness opens, the more you can view, the more you can see. It's really beautiful, Archie. Thank you.
Namaskar. Yeah, this is a fascinating subject, because we can stay an observer and observe the play. And of course, the ego response is the one, because consciousness is still, though it's in expansion. Accordingly, with the ego changes. How we perceive the play, how the sceneries are changing in every moment. That is the moment in which we can caught and we can live that magical moment. We might not know that it's happening, actually, we're living, but we don't know what we're living. It's just that, you know, I could give an example. Any time when I used to come to the ashram, I was coming like 4 times a year, and not staying too long, yeah, maybe 2 weeks. Any time when I would go back, something was different. Everything was different, yeah. The people that are coming to me, the way I'm acting, the way I'm going to a store, and the way I'm interacting with people. Of course, it's like you feed a baby with a little spoon and you give him little food, of course, but it's noticeable and it's happening. And I cannot say the moment when it's happening, because it just happens. It's magical. I cannot pinpoint when and what, but I could tell you for sure that it's happening. And we all are in the same, that's what Guru said in the Bindu, we all in oneness. Because the more we expand this still consciousness, it's so, even the word, it's quite funny, we still get to that oneness. And even if one is thinking something, the other one is living in it. So that's a magical thing. And I really enjoy this journey, you know, because every time something new is coming. And if I look at my own thing, you know what? Look what happened. I retired and I got myself in a forest. Yeah, so in a forest, I am secluded. I cannot interact too much, and all my life is spiritual now. So I'm watching the Zoom, and I follow the discipline. So I'm quite fixed by the universe, yeah, I would say so. The only moment when I can enjoy that freedom would be when I go grocery shopping. So I'm just telling you what happened with me, because now I'm 74, and I'm gonna be 74. But yeah, it was the journey of my life. Yeah, after I met the Guru, everything was marvel, and it changed. Let's call it change.
And
It's a miracle.
Can you see how this is your life purpose? Like nothing else matters aside from this growth from who you were then, even though you can't pinpoint the moment, that this growth, who you were then and who you are now, are completely different, and that is your life purpose. Nothing else is your life purpose.
You know, I didn't realize that would be my life purpose in the beginning, because you're taken by this wave, yeah, and I didn't know, but now I could see. And there is a moment when it's coming that you look at your past, and then you see how everything, since you were born, the destiny, you know, those ones that they coming and predict your future or whatever, we calling them ursitoare, yeah? Okay, those magical, yeah, that they predict your future, yeah, you can see since them that even my husband was a guru, my teachers, all of them, you know, they all were a guru. My Latin teacher gave me a cat, and my French teacher inspired me to teach French, and I didn't go for them. Listen, all kinds of little things you start discovering, yeah. So I could say it's a magical journey. It's the most beautiful thing that can happen in somebody's life. And Guru, when he comes, he put a stamp. That's it.
I like to call it the fast track to consciousness evolution.
Namaskar.
Thank you, Atreyu.
Namaskar. Well, I didn't have any dramatic spiritual awakening or so. I think my journey has been gradual. I've always been curious about the power of the mind, and I've never had the opportunity to pursue it until after my children were older and got married and so on. So I started thinking about it. And also, another thing that intensified that investigation was sometimes you have relationships which can be very toxic at times. And you realize that it's all in your mind and you should do something about it. You can do something about it. So I started reading Guruji's book, Self-Mastery. I also started to delve into a lot of the science of consciousness and so on. And I found that, well, science took you up to a certain point and really stopped at consciousness. So I realized from Guruji's books that this is something you have to experience yourself, you know. And after reading a couple of his books intensely, I started coming to the ashram. And the vibrations and Guruji's presence was just amazing. And what changes it has brought to me, quite a lot. I'm so much better at handling situations. You know, it doesn't wreck you. You know, you're just a lot calmer. You can handle it. You have a different space entirely, you know, and you don't allow things to get into that space. You know, so that's my story. Sorry.
Namaskar. My story begins very young, but that I didn't know. And I realized that when I went to a 4 years education of people and intuition, and then I got something, I want more of this. And that was for me a total different world. And that was then the world I want to be in. And when the course was over, how to go further. And a friend of mine came with a newspaper advertisement of the world that is you, based on the teachings of Guruji. But then I didn't know that yet. But I came in contact with Shelley and Doreen, now as Saraswati Devi, and Sarala, thank you. And then I went to the teacher training, and then they said, the teacher is coming to Holland, you have to go, it's an opportunity. And I thought, so? But they went to say it and went to say it, and then I became curious. And I go immediately to a 3 days course in het Zonhuis. And then that workshop inspired me, because it were de spelregels, wat zijn dat, de spelregels, vertaling van de spelregels? The rules of the game, rules of life. And he was telling about the sports life of people who have in the discipline to train. Now, I had did that, so I knew exactly what he meant. But it was curious. Everyone was around him. I thought, wow. And then Saraswati asked, did you hug him? Oh no, I want that. But sometimes I was alone with him, and then he put his hand on my heart, and then the rest of the day I cried. And then it began all automatically. It was flowing. It was flowing, just flowing, and I didn't understand, but I began to read and follow the teachings, and that was in 2003, and I can say I know myself a little more, and I love it.
That's beautiful. I love that you spoke about that inner prompt that you had from very early that said that you wanted more, something different. And what is that inner prompt? Who is that inner prompt?
Yeah, that were examples of the Catholic Church what I don't understand, and when I asked my father, he didn't have an answer to it, and I felt things. I thought it couldn't be true, and at school the same.
But what if I told you it was Kundalini inside of you that's asking those questions and leading to those prompts? So the universe seeking you. Remember, so Guru spoke about that involution process that we're held hostage, that higher self is held hostage. And when she begins to move and the universe begins to move, that's when those questions come. And even as a child, that may happen, or subtly in your relationships, like you spoke about, where, you know, I don't like where I am in life. There must be something different. There must be a way to prompt my mind. That's us being released from that hostage, right? And the universe at work helping us to open up and grow and expand our consciousness as that first push that says there's more, there's something different, there's a different way. There's that little whisper in our intuition that's Kundalini driving that, even though we can't see it or we don't know that word yet. That's the beauty of the play. I think we might have time for one more. We have time for one more.
Namaskar, everyone. I resonate very much what you said just now, because I remember that before meeting Guruji, I had this sudden dissatisfaction with all my life, like a sort of crisis, existential crisis, which I didn't understand, but now I relate with the divine inside that wanted to expand and to awaken. And then, my entire life I searched for, I would say, I felt a search for true love, which I didn't see or found around. And when I met Guruji, for sure I had a very strong taste of that. I would put it that, because it's not only love, but that happiness that I felt after Shaktipat became my, I don't know how to say in English, but my reference point. And I remember even from the first beginning, from the first meeting with Guruji, he held my hand and he said, "You will never be satisfied with ordinary life." And I can relate so much with that, because till today, even if sometimes, a little bit my ego wanted to, just to go and enjoy the normal life, I cannot. It's just pure dissatisfaction. And I always am forced, always in a good way, say it, stay on the track. And related to the karmic stage, for sure, I would say that I see more clearly how it responds to my inner world, very, very clearly. In both ways, beautiful situations of, grace is both, right? Negative and positive, but beautiful situations, very supportive people, very supportive situations, like being here now in this period, but also like challenging me through different ways. So yeah, for sure I can see more clearly than before how the karmic stage is relating with my inner. Yeah, thank you.
Madhavi, you want to keep us going while I just check in with AB? As I'm going to check in with AB to see about ending the conversation.
No, I think I wait for you to enter into the conversation based on the questions that were asked. Anyone else? Yeah. KP?
Namaskar, everyone. Okay. I was listening to all of you as I appreciate the self speaking through all, and I'm deep searching for having that wisdom coming from all of you. That's why I didn't interact so much. But since morning in the program, what it struck me, also with the morning questions that Guruji would have put, and through Shriya, I was contemplating how I was coming in Guru field from the beginning, after a deep suffering, a deep struggling, so opposite than maybe the panelist, coming from a very spiritual, maybe family, a good environment to grow. I was coming from the hell. And just the light was my breath that I was needed in that moment. So immediately coming into the field of awakening was everything that my cell and my being was needed. So it was very opposite that what I was perceiving until that moment in my life. So I would appreciate every single moment of that dual type of experience up to that moment to the new experience. And I just remember, because I was coming in the ashram like immediately as I met Guruji. And I remember Ananda and hell living in me in the same time. I was living in a very blissful state of being, just having Guruji in the field and in the field of the ashram, higher states of freedom and joy and expansion, but in the same time meeting the veil, in the veil that it was the I. So dealing with that throughout the years was like an elastic or like a rubber band, expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. And always I would have ask why, and ask the other seekers why we cannot keep it, why we cannot keep these higher states of expansion in consciousness, that our soul recognizes it so much, because we do recognize in ourselves the space of the Guru. We know it, we catch it in the field. It's just that yet we cannot be stabilizing it. And that's the journey of all of us, right? Unveiling, unveiling, unveiling. And depending, I think, on the karmic stage, we might need to pass through more rough journeys through the unveiling process, or more smoother ones. And I had a very rough one, because I was coming with the trauma in my being, in the karmic field, even in the cells of the body, and the body still memorized that. And hence the journey of the well-being and of the wellness that the journey put me in through, to really unveil from that DNA even. And
That what?
DNA?
Oh.
DNA. And just holding the stability that we all know and we resonate. And that's my soul. It's like contemplating, and my being contemplating all this journey. It's about just dealing with the karmic field and the patterns that we have to pass through until we stabilize in consciousness. We stabilize in that field of the Guru and of the expansion, of the field of the observer. And the karmic stage didn't necessarily change so much for me, because I was more into the ashram, and the same with my family, but the perceiver was changed. So I was perceiving differently the karmic stage. I was taking a different type of experience all the time, not necessarily that the karmic stage changed. Of course, their approach towards me would have changed, but not necessarily the karmic stage. So, but the observer, the experienced one was changing. So the whole experience was changing in that sense. I'm enjoying now more the stability in my inner space, and that self-mastery coming with the Guru grace and spending all these years here in the ashram with the teachings, being dedicated, I come more to a smoother journey, so rough, and I'm enjoying that and still paying attention to the veils that are there all the time until stabilizing in the consciousness. And as Shreya said, it's just more inside of my being, that desire to support and compassion and love towards the others, and how can I help? And coming into the field of work, it just felt that I have a reason to live, because it felt for me just living just for freeing myself of all these veils. It feels like a nonsense in that sense. I need a purpose, and the purpose, when I found it, I can be a bit more light for those around me. It gives me more strength and more power to go and on and on and on. So that's where I am right now in the consciousness, enjoying a bit more of a smoother journey.
Thank you so much for sharing and sharing of yourself so deeply and honestly. And I'm sure we'll have more of these over the next few days. So, namaskar.
Namaskar, everyone. So welcome back. My hope is that you would have been enriched by the conversation. And did you see the energy that came up in you to speak? Or when you did speak, did you feel that you were empowered by an energy from inside? So really, it is the energy that does everything. It is what prompts you to speak in response to the field. And it is what brings up the information in your mind to speak as well. So if you really align to the energy, it becomes an incredible experience when you just open your mouth to speak. Or even if you are listening and you're sharing the inner space, you can be fulfilled without saying a word, because you would have felt that every voice was your voice. And that's the marvel of these conversations. Okay, so now we have everybody together, and the floor is yours. You have me now in terms of conversation. Yeah? So engage me. You can ask me anything, everything, and because all the topics are related. Today's topic is also related to the Sunday's topic. Every topic is related. So whatever comes to your mind, operate from the self. Whatever comes to your mind to ask me, please feel free to do that. Yeah, and we have Haridas here. Let's give him a microphone. And in the meantime, if we don't, AVT, no, I wouldn't bother you. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Hari.
Namaskar Gurudev, Namaskar everyone. My question, of course, you spoke a lot about this in the previous 40 days.
Just bring the microphone a little bit down, so yeah.
My question is related to the karmic stage, and how is related to the inner unfolding or inner journey. And my question would be, what means to honor when you speak about
what needs to?
When you speak about what means to honor the karmic stage?
Well, yeah, it's simply fulfilling the duties that arise out of the karmic stage. For example, if you're married, but you don't like your wife, right? So then the karmic play brought you into the marriage based on desires, but you're not honoring it unless you have a true closure in the relationship, or you work the relationship to your best, and then you can become free of it when there is closure. So whatever is in the karmic stage, you are given a talent, you're given an opportunity to express it. That's an opportunity, right? And if it's helping people, it becomes a way to freedom as well. By helping others, you help yourself to grow. But all the relationships that are coming from the karmic plane, and I'm not speaking about human relationships only. Relationship with your body, it's on the stage 2. Relationship with your environment, relationship with animals, relationship at the workplace. So it's all kinds of things that all kinds of circumstances, people, places that appear on your stage. How are you working with it? Because you're there for a purpose. You're there for a reason. So you need to ask yourself, what is the reason this is coming up in the play? And if you are in a good space, a clear space, the reason will appear to you.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, but for me, the karmic play is so important because we tend to think of, let me run away from the world and let me try to look for the self inside. But our thoughts are still in the world. So if you can run away from the world, but if you're thinking of the world, what's the use? So it's better you stay in the play, engage in the play in such a way that you can grow in consciousness through that relationship in the play. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, that's very, very clear.
Yeah?
Thank you so much, Guru.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any hands up? Yeah, this goes to everybody as well, right? Yeah, I have no idea how the conversations went on the global stage, but it'll be interesting to see if I can get any of you to speak as to, or perhaps everything was very clear, and so you don't need any information from me. Yeah, Sundari, Mario.
Namaskar. You said this morning, the universe will always respond on wishes. But am I growing faster when I have wishes? Or
You need a desire for the play.
yeah, I have the desire.
Because if you
for the
don't
play.
desire is like an engine.
Yeah,
If you don't
that's a
desire,
big
then nothing will happen.
yeah, that's a big wish. But I was thinking about less normal wishes or something like that.
You can have any wish you want, it will help you to grow.
Yeah, but I'm so satisfied.
If you're satisfied, then you don't need to wish anything.
Yeah, but this just, I was just.
But once you are satisfied, and that means happy and free,
Yeah,
no issues.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Would any of the facilitators say about what happened in your group, and so if you give me the major conversations from your group, then I may add some light to that. Facilitators can do that. So engage me. Yeah, Radhaji is there. Go ahead, Radhaji.
Yes. Namaskar, Guruji.
Namaskar to you.
We started our conversation with a consciousness evolution, and I was asking myself, or Madhava and I, we had a little conversation before that about a word, involution. Sometimes we hear you speak about the involution. Do you mean the same as evolution, or is there a difference?
No, but you know the meaning of involution. What did you say in response to that? Did it come up in the group, or are you not bringing it up to me?
No. It was in the group. We spoke about it in the group.
All right. Did you speak about evolution cannot happen without involution?
Oh.
Evolution is a response to involution.
Oh, well.
You would have no word about evolution if there wasn't involution. If you weren't devolved into darkness, then there would be no reason to evolve. So in the process of evolution, it implies that you have been involuted, so to speak.
Yeah. Now I see what you mean with involution, as if it's in the fall into
Exactly, into the ignorance.
Yeah. And from my personal perspective, involution, my consciousness is involuting in the infinite consciousness. That's what my...
No. It's involuting into ignorance, into contraction. So contraction, again, implies that expansion is going to happen.
I see now what you mean.
Yeah.
So, and we in the group we.
So what you involute into is infinite energy, bounded, contracted.
Well, that's a new view. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, I see Vashishta and Henriette there. Ah, Krishna Priya is here. Go ahead, Krishna Priya. Let's take one from the whole. Mm-hmm.
Namaskar. Gurudev, just following on Radha, conversation with you, when we speak about involution and evolution of consciousness, we are looking into energetic aspect of consciousness. Only in that sense it can happen an evolution and an evolution.
Yeah, it's an energy aspect.
Exactly. But
because consciousness in its essence can't.
Exactly.
It invokes an energy to do it.
Exactly.
It's the energy of Maya.
I think I resonated with Radhaji and oneness. I love you, Radha, because in the same time as Radha was saying about that, in my consciousness were coming the same kind of questions around it, and I was like, how should I put it in a way that I want to express clearly what I understood until now, because in essence I understand, but when it's about involution and evolution, and taking from the perspective maybe of the other traditions of knowledge, of maybe Advaita, that cannot involute or evolute, but in terms of energy and consciousness, it's the same play, that it's evoluting and involuting. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you, Guru.
Yeah, Vashishta?
Namaskar, Guruji, and all.
Namaskar.
About the practices.
About?
And the what are the practices? What do you practice?
Okay, go ahead.
I struggle with the desire and the will. It is my ego thinks I have to do the pranayamas and the Kurukita.
No. You don't have to do any of those.
Beg pardon?
You don't have to do any of those. We do those when the mind is straying. So those help the straying mind, the restless mind. When you chant for half an hour, the mind becomes more quiet. The Sanskrit helps to harmonize the mind. And if you really understand what you're chanting, then it's like an affirmation that the Guru is inside me, the Guru is outside me, the Guru is everywhere. That's what the Guru Gita is saying. So if you understand the meaning of the verses, it says it focuses on the Guru Tattva. So that's why you chant. You chant so that you can affirm something in your consciousness, or you can bring your mind into a quiet place. That's why after the singing and chanting, we meditate. But if you just want to meditate, that's fine. You don't need to chant anything. The main thing is learning to detach the mind, which is the process of yoga. Detach your mind from thinking on the outside and bring the mind inside. And then you have to transcend the mind, because mind is ego. So you have to begin to witness the ego, and detach from it. And now you have to open yourself to making the connection with the power inside. So that doesn't require any kind of practices except a strong desire to grow in consciousness and begin to follow the consciousness inside.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah? Nothing else is important. All the other things only help. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Henriette. Okay, I have 5 minutes for any other contribution, question. All right, yeah, we take Dr. Dani. Dani ji, the floor is yours.
Namaskar, everyone. Well, it was very challenging, this question about evolution and involution. And it's pumping into my head. Well, we are on this path of evolution. We open our consciousness and the way is free to go. And we reach a level. It is a possibility for us to go down and to evolve our consciousness.
No, we can't devolve.
We can't evolve.
No, because where we are is already a devolved state. We may think that we are evolved, but unless we feel the energy, unless we can experience the consciousness, we are still in a devolved state.
Yeah.
So we can't evolve more, because the way the mind works, we might become more caught up, carried away, but not devolved.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So
we may be distracted by a number of things, but whatever consciousness we reach, that's not going to go back. We can't go back into animalistic behavior if we have lifted.
That's a good news. It's
Yeah.
good news, Guruji.
And that's why at the end of life, whatever our consciousness is, that's what we're taking into the next life. Yeah, whatever merit we have developed, whatever height of consciousness we have reached, it's going to come back in the next life. Yeah? Thank you, Danji.
Thank you.
All right, so we have had a marvelous day, I would say. And we look forward to tomorrow, where what are the tools that we have to expand the consciousness? And that's another exciting one, because they are very powerful tools we have. How do we use them? Do we use them efficiently or inefficiently? Do we recognize them? So how can we see the tools for opening up the consciousness? That's tremendously exciting for me, because the more I grew in consciousness, the more tools I realized that I had. And not only that, I've learned how to sharpen them. So sharpening the tools is also required. So recognizing the tools, sharpening them. The mind is a tool. The chakras are tools. The guru is a means. The space is also a means. So we may call them tools as well in that sense. So we have internal tools, we call those antakarana, inner instruments. And then the other tools, as it were, or instruments, will be the external world. So we can have another engaging conversation tomorrow to help you to clarify the journey in consciousness. But the experience of a journey is more than marvelous. If you compare the spiritual path with any other path, there is no comparison. There is more excitement on the spiritual path, and just to uncover the power of your being, there's nothing greater than that. Yeah? It's like the story I tell about the lion cub that lived amongst sheep, and it thought it was a sheep. But the moment the big lion came around and taught it how to roar, its life was never the same. So when you become uncovered and you begin to roar, your life is never the same. You become supremely empowered. And then the journey becomes an exciting one. And I also say to you that life should not be a battleground. It's only a battleground when you don't use wisdom. But the moment you are able to invoke wisdom or uncover wisdom within your being, life becomes a play. Okay? So let's close our session today with a short meditation and prayer. Let's come into that space of silence with a lot of gratitude in our hearts for the gift of today, the gift of each other, the gift of the Infinite One, the gift of the Masters. Let's open our minds to each other that we may feel one mind. Open our hearts to each other that we may feel one heart. Breathe into the belly area so that we may be empowered. The mind becoming more silent and the heart opening up. Beloved God, Infinite One, beloved Gurus, we thank you for the gift of this day, for the friendships, for the energy, for the knowledge, and for you, that we could all celebrate our existence in you. We ask you to continue to bless this conference and continue to bless us in our personal lives with well-being, with happiness, with abundance, and alignment to you. We thank you, beloved God. We thank you, beloved Gurus. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So our numbers were good today. And not only that, we have opened up to YouTube and Facebook so anybody can join the conference. Okay? But if you want me to see you, come on Zoom, and so I will see you. And you get the opportunity to meet in the breakout groups that we have. Okay? So have a great day everyone, and we look forward to tomorrow. Namaskar.